Where are you tuning in from? Let everyone know.
I am calling in from Charleston, South Carolina, in the United States.
Very nice. And with this, it's going to be very organic. I'm not going to just, whatever experience you've had with Purvida, just let it all come out. So the questions aren't strict or too rigid. So be free to open up. But how long have you been a member?
I've been a member of Purvida for since it started, so a year and a half, I guess.
Nice. And here's the question. Where were you before? And you can talk in terms of your headspace or movement or nutrition, or boil it down to a couple of points. But where were you before, and now where do you feel you're at in terms of improvement, in terms of not the experience, I'll get onto that, but kind of that comparison of where you were to where you are now. It's a loaded question, but do your best.
No, I've got an answer. I would say
Great.
before, I was in a place where I wasn't owning my health and wellness. I was just going from, one program to the next or one challenge to the next and relying on whether it was my doctor or whatever coach I was working with to guide me. And now I would say that I'm in a place where I'm the owner of my health and wellness. And I think it's just by how you approach health and wellness. You're very, very particular and clear that, how do I put it into words? Yeah, I don't think that there's a video, whether it's about nutrition, exercise, or mindset on the Purvida platform where you don't mention growing your own self-awareness of your mind and your body. And if you ever have something to try out, you always, sandwich it in between. This may not be for everybody, but it may be for you. So when you're trying this new breath workout or when you're trying this, type of nutrition out, see how your body responds to it, get feedback, over anywhere from immediate feedback to the next day when it's mindset stuff. There's certain things that you can get immediate feedback from of were you calmer afterwards? And you always kind of queue up to pay attention to how your body's responding to the whether it's a mindset practice or nutrition practice or a movement practice. You always cue me to think about and be aware of how my body's responding to it. So now I know I'm a little bit more informed over the past year and a half how my body responds to certain foods, how my body responds to certain mental practices and breath work, and how my body responds to movement too.
So why is that important to you?
That's a good question. Just, I think the bigger picture. Right now I work in healthcare, and I've actually changed my tune a little bit. I used to, before I worked in healthcare with hospital systems, I used to be in agreement with the people that said that, healthcare needs to take responsibility for, especially the United States, like the United States population health. And I've changed my tune of no, it's actually on us to know our bodies, bring it back to the basics, and take care of ourselves. There's at some point in time we will need medicine and surgery, and that's what the hospitals are for. But they're not. It's not their responsibility to keep you fed well. There's plenty of resources, including Purvida, that I can, without ever going into a hospital, go and learn about how my body is wired to fuel itself and to have the most nutrient dense diet where I don't feel that 2 p.m. fog that most people do. A lot of, I think my peers, that's the normal slump is the 2 to 3. And I think learning from Purvida and from you, it's you actually, there's certain foods that will make you feel tired, and there's certain foods that are going to make you feel energized. And I just never paid attention to my body this much, where now I know I'm going to eat certain foods at lunchtime, and actually get more creative and get more focused and get more energized through my afternoon. And um and I'm telling my body, you know, that based on like what I'm eating, mental breaks that I take in the day, when I move during the day, you know, working on the morning versus working on the afternoon, um, is yeah, like causes a different day for me. So yeah, so I care about it because I think that the ownership has been this the ownership of health and wellness has been lacking, and I personally want to just change that for myself. That's what I can control. I can own my health and wellness, you know.
Hmm. So you've had a switch of mindset from maybe like a 5 out of 10 ownership to 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 9 or 10 out of 10. Hmm. Yeah,
Great.
even it's even gone into I've had to like go to the dentist and get some like dental work done. And I used to think like, oh, the dentist needs to be the expert of like my mouth. And I've even changed the approach of like, no, I need to know exactly what's going on and take care of my teeth, you know, and be the owner of my mouth. And so it's kind of it's gone into other areas of my health and wellness too, just the ownership mindset.
Wow, that was my next question. You stole
Mm.
it. Have you, so say you did like a practice, whether it's a meditation or a breath work or a movement or learn something about nutrition. Obviously, you feel the benefits straight away, immediately. But what's the carryover to everyday life, like everyday living? Is there
Mm.
maybe like one or two circumstances that stick out to you that show that the practices aren't just the practices aren't just immediate, they carry over to everything that you do? Maybe like
Mhm.
one example, if any comes to mind.
The biggest one, and I'm kind of an evangelist for it now, is the awareness of breath and
Mm,
how your breath, it's you can calm yourself down just by switching up from breathing from your mouth to your nose, and you taught me that.
mm,
And I was, yeah, I think that I have a conversation with people about that every single week. And it's crazy how few people understand the connection with breathing and the parasympathetic nervous system,
mm,
and how just switching from mouth to nostril breathing, it calms your nervous system down, you know, put your body into a state of rest. And so working with a lot of high level executive, very stressful job, you know, goal oriented worker bees, you know, um, to be able to apply that for myself, and then for it to come up into conversation, just the power of breath work. And even, you know, doing the 3 to 5 minute breath work sessions that you do. I think the longest ones that you do are 20 minutes, and those, like every minute, it exponentially grows to, you know, the impact of the breath work grows a ton the more that you do it. But
mm,
to do a 3 minute breath work, um, yeah, that could, you know, course correct your entire day.
mm. Definitely. That's cool. Big last question, one of the last two questions, and you can take about 20 seconds to think about it. What has been, if there's one example or incident in a positive term from the last year and a half since you've been on the platform, is there one thing that sticks out that's been the biggest transformation for you? Like a single thing? Like, I was this and now I'm this, for example.
Hmm. It's probably around nutrition.
Mm,
So yeah, and I think that's your, you know, like smallest pillar right
mm,
now. I know you're building it out right now, but nutrition, yeah, what you've taught me surrounding nutrition has been probably the biggest game changer. Like,
mm,
I cook 99% of my meals now. I go to a local farmer's market and actually source. I pay attention to where I source food, and I can taste the difference between, I mean, I used to judge people that were the organic people. And now,
me.
and that was just because I was I was uneducated. But now that I know that where our food comes from, you know, the soil and even yeah, what kind of farms and if they use anything on it, like how fresh the food is, and it really changes how my body feels based on what kind of food I'm eating. And yeah, I used to think that you would need to add all these things into to make a meal, and you've taught me like keep it to the basics, keep it simple.
Mm.
Every meal takes me less than 20 minutes to cook, and it's amazing. And now I'm cooking for my family and for my friends, and I really enjoy it. You know, it's part of my day that I look forward to.
Mm.
And it's a gift now to cook and work with food and care about where I'm getting the food. So that's the biggest one. That's I'll never go back to how I used to maybe eat out more or
Hmm.
buy foods without really knowing where they're coming from.
Hmm. Nice. That's pretty cool, actually. I wasn't expecting that answer, so that was a nice, different one. And I just want to comment on that. It's amazing when you eat like real food from well-raised soils, so to speak, that you don't need to like put stuff on because the taste is already there. I think
Exactly.
that was kind of clarifying your point. Cool.
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to bombard you with many more questions. Just one big question to finish. Would you highly recommend Purvida to? Oh no, this was the big last question. Sorry. If there was someone listening now who is maybe stuck in their mind, who is maybe stuck with their movement or has an injury, they're not sure what their next steps are, anything to do with the mind, the movement, or even nutrition for you, what would your advice be to someone in that situation right now? What would Meg's advice be?
Well, I'm going to steal one of your messages that's always stuck with me, that intensity is fun, but it never could beat the impact of results that consistency can create.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
to be consistent, make tiny decisions over a long period of time, and to think about, okay, in 5 or 10 years, where do I want my health to be, and slowly migrate towards that, rather than there's all these, you know, 2 pounds in 2 weeks or 6 pounds in 6 weeks, these like fast, easy type challenges, and that's just not how to approach health and wellness. So I think, yeah, the message that you've taught me, which applies to nutrition, to movement, to developing a mental practice, and I think there's what's actually happening. If this happens, I coined it. What's happening right now is I'm noticing people are paying attention to how they handle things. So people are actually caring. I want to be someone who responds, not reacts. So developing mental practices, people are the most open now that I've ever seen to breath work. Walking meditations that you do, taking a second just to leave the office and walk around the block and get outside and change their environment to come back and have their mind ready and sharp. So all that to say, once again, yeah, consistency over intensity is the thing that I would say.
Nice. Incremental. Cool. And then a finishing question, which I was starting to say, would you recommend Pavita?
Absolutely. I would recommend I do recommend Purvida.